Don't you just love the good life? A well-paying job with taxes that doesn't leave you in tears at the end of the month? A job market that makes it easier for the unemployed to get a job? A nice environment with good retirement policies? Yeah, I bet you do, and you're not alone. People in search of the good life have moved away from places where they find it hard to achieve their goals to a place where the grass is much greener. Who doesn't love a good place to retire? Based on the cost of living, especially in this pandemic, including unemployment rates and other aspects of living, some states have experienced outbounds more than others. So, here are the top 10 states Americans are moving out from. Number 10, Michigan. When the majority of the jobs available in a state are paying less than $20 an hour, one doesn't need Albert Einstein to explain why people are moving out. Mix that drink of low-paying jobs with another drink of unemployment, and what you have is basically a cocktail of disaster. With a 4.1% unemployment rate, the state doesn't have much in the way of retaining people's attention long enough to stick around. So, there isn't much fun to do. And also, when the winter comes, it doesn't seem to leave. Number 9, Ohio. The state of Ohio is another state that is experiencing major outbounds as people are out looking for a better destination. We could think of two reasons why this is happening. For starters, the unemployment rate in the entire state is 5.7%, which is high compared to many other states. Not to mention that much of the state is also gripped with various taxes that, once you add them all up, comes out to make Ohio rank as the 19th highest in the country. Also, did we forget to mention that it's either too hot or too cold here, which kind of makes things unbearable? Number 8, California. The cost of living in California is $150 based on an estimate that puts the national average at 100. Yes, you heard that right. It's that high. California ranks as the third highest in the country, and for a state that has a housing cost which is double the state's average, one would need other aspects to be in great shape to, at the very least, persuade one to stay in the state. Sorry to say, but unfortunately, Hollywood and Silicon Valley aren't cutting it anymore to be able to have folks stick around. For such a high life to live in this state, that comes with a high cost. Number 7, Connecticut. Now, one would have thought that this bluish seaside state would have been enough to make people connect with the state of Connecticut. Guess there's more to life than fishing and beach games. Yes, let's start with a high property and income tax that has become the norm in many states in the Northeast. From there, we talk about the lack of jobs, which has been the number one reason why most folks are leaving the state. Well, if you're considering life after retirement, Connecticut would definitely not be worth your time. Number 6, Louisiana. Louisiana is a lovely state with beautiful places and rich culture. It's a place where jobs are easy to find. Who are we kidding? Scratch that. Louisiana is actually truly beautiful, but that second part, not so much. Look, unemployment rate in the state is still one of the highest in the country, which is well over 4%. Now that's really bad news. But what makes it even worse is that most jobs don't even pay all that well, and most of them don't even compensate for the high cost of living in many major cities. While there is not much difference between the unemployed and employed, moving still sounds like a good plan. Number 5, New Jersey. Yes, the lovely Garden State. Sad to say that the grass hasn't always been greener in this particular garden. Seems like most people have been flirting with the idea of leaving instead of staying. The number of outbounds in New Jersey has been high in recent years. Yes, there's nothing new in New Jersey. With an outbound ranging from 58 to 68% over the years, New Jersey has suffered outbounds for many reasons, including lack of jobs and high cost of living. People have stated that the cost of living is so high for somebody that wants to retire, guess there's no room for rest in the garden. Number 4, Illinois. For the Prairie State, this has been an ongoing trend for a couple of years, and it's not really surprising to find out why. To kick things off, would you be happy sitting and relaxing in a state where the taxes are sky high and many of them don't even get used for the reasons you're paying them? The majority of those asked have pointed to the low quality of living as the main reason for their moving. Though Illinois' cost of living is a tad bit lower than the nation's average, with a 93.4 compared to the nation's 100, the cost of living has steadily been on the rise in recent times. There's also not many job opportunities in the state either, thanks to the outrageous property taxes which have driven businesses out, and not to mention the high crime rate in one of the most deadly cities in the nation, Chicago. Number 3, South Dakota. Things are really going south in South Dakota. The state ranks high in the list of outbounds, as over the years, many younger people have cited that brain drain is the biggest reason for packing their bags. This brain drain is due to the lack of cultural diversity and lack of interaction with different languages and ideas. Not to mention that the South Dakota economy is also stagnant and sluggish, adding to the mass migration of why residents have been leaving quick. With much of the economy being heavily dependent on natural gas, oil, and sparse farmlands, it's no wonder why people are taking the trip out of state to find better job opportunities, which all of this ends up contributing to the massive 61% outbounds from the state. Number 2, West Virginia. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home, country roads. Sorry, John Denver, but home ain't what it used to be. A beautiful state with great sights that leave most mouths open when visiting has now turned into a place where people run far away. West Virginia was, unfortunately, greatly affected by the opioid crisis, which has since affected the charm of the state. And if that's not enough, add to the fact that the unemployment rate and the diminished market power from the coal industry being slowly shut down has caused many to sadly leave their homes behind. This in turn has greatly increased the cost of housing, utilities, and food, since there isn't much of a sustainable market for West Virginia to hold on to. Lastly, number 1, New York. Frank Sinatra once said that if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. Of course, I guess now the phrase should be if you can get out of New York, you can make it anywhere, as the percentage of outbounds in New York over the past year has amounted to 62%. Yes, you've heard that right. It's that high. But, gee, I wonder why. Well, a glaring reason would be the fact that the state has one of the highest tax rates in the country, along with the cost of living in the state is one of the highest in the nation. But that's not all. We can't forget about the crazy and erratic cold winters experienced in this part of the country every year. While it is a developed state with lots of things to do and see, are they really worth it when you don't even have any money in your wallet at the end of the day to do it with? Now, you might still be wondering, are there even people living in this state anymore? Yeah, there still is, unfortunately. Well, that's going to do it for us, folks. Those are the top 10 states that Americans are moving out from. If you like this channel, please go ahead and like the video as well as subscribe to us. And if you can, hit that notification bell to keep up to date on more top 10 videos about the United States. See you later, guys.